Hey guys, welcome back to Just a Geek in the Garage. Today I want to talk about sockets. I had a commenter specifically ask me for this video of kind of comparing Harbor Freight sockets to uh, tool truck quality type sockets. So I have a few sets here, as you guys can see. So I want to kind of go over them and see, which ones I recommend, which ones I don't recommend. And I have this 13 millimeter bolt that I will use to kind of show you, why I recommend certain ones of these and why I don't recommend the others. So, going through the sockets, basically we have this. This is a Caterpillar set, which is made by Snap-on. So this is, let's call these just Snap-on sockets. We have the Pittsburgh set. We have the Quinn set, a very old Craftsman USA set, and Icon. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Basically, I've had, these ones I've had for, 25, 30 years. The rest of these I've had for a few years. With the exception of this is probably my newest one, the Caterpillar one. I just got these maybe, within the last year or so. So, when I'm looking at sockets, I have never personally broken a socket ever in my entire time. Like I said, this is probably my most used set. Again, the Craftsman set. I used to use these professionally, back in the day, and now they're just, sitting in my toolbox. I love this set. Has never treated me wrong. And if you can find yourself an old set of Craftsman USA, I highly recommend them. But right now, my most used set by far is going to probably be the Icon, just because it's sitting up in my my main toolbox, along with the ratchets and things like that. So when I'm grabbing a socket, generally it's going to be this. As far as, should you spend a ton of money on sockets versus, a set like this, from Caterpillar is probably about $60 or so. From Snap-on, it's probably a few $100s just for a set of 3/8 metric sockets. So that's what all of these are pretty much is that you're looking in front of you is the 3/8 in metric, with the exception of these guys back here. No, actually, I'm sorry. These are just the deep version of the 3/8, but these are, most of the other ones are going to be the shallow versions. Sorry about that. So, if you guys know anything about Snap-on, back in, I think it was in the 60s or 70s, they developed what's called the flank drive system on their sockets and on their wrenches. And all that means is that when you put a socket in on a bolt, instead of it trying to grab the corners, like a lot of sockets do, and it would round them off because you're putting a lot of pressure on the corners, is that there's a little bit of play on the socket itself. Let me see if I can kind of show you guys. So let's pull this up. So if you can see, there's always a little bit of play. So when you put it in, you notice it almost feels like it's a little loose for the bolt, but that's on purpose, because what's happening is, instead of it grabbing the corners, it's grabbing right here the flank of the bolt itself. So it's less likely to round it off, because it's really grabbing kind of the meat where the most metal is, versus just the corners. So they developed this, again, like I said, I think it was the 60s or 70s, again, called the flank drive. It's on their wrenches as well. On the wrenches, they also have what's called the flank drive plus, where it's the same kind of thing, but it adds these little kind of teeth that you see right here to grab into the bolt itself. I haven't seen any sockets that have that specifically that I'm aware of. If you guys have, please put it in the comments below. But when you go through all of these sets right here and you look at the 13 millimeter, the only one that doesn't do that is going to be this Pittsburgh set. Pittsburgh, as you can see, if it's in there, there's literally no play. So what that means is that as you try to, put torque on this, it's putting all the pressure on the corners, and you don't want that. But every other set that I have, sorry, it's hard to see. This is the Quinn set, right? A lot of people said the Quinn set was just the Pittsburgh set, just rebranded with the colors on here. I don't think that's the case. I think this is a completely different set. Same thing with with Craftsman. You can see some play, and with the icon, it feels very, very similar to the Snap-on. So, having kind of said all this, basically what I would say is that most socket sets should suffice for the average user. You don't have to go and spend a few $100 on Snap-on. But what I would say is the only ones I would tell you to stay away from would be the Pittsburgh. I love a lot of Pittsburgh tools. I have a ton of their tools. They've all treated me. Most of them have treated me very, very well. However, the one thing, the only time I've really hurt myself while I was working was using a Pittsburgh ratchet, because it broke on me, as I was putting a lot of torque on it, and it basically set my hand into a piece of metal that ended up cutting me because of the tool. So because of that, ratchets, I don't use I own a lot of Pittsburgh ones. I don't use them when it's going to be something that I'm putting a lot of torque on. But the sockets definitely are not going to be my go-to. Quinn is great. Craftsman USA is great. Icon, again, my go-to set. So what I would say is, if you're going to go to Harbor Freight and pick up some sockets, definitely go with the Quinn sets instead of the Pittsburgh. Usually it's not going to cost you that much more, just a few dollars more, but you're going to get a much higher quality socket that actually does get the flank of a bolt versus the corners. So if you don't want to round off your bolts, if you want to hopefully save your hands, just avoid the Pittsburgh ones. Anything else, for the most part, should be good. I wish I had other sockets to show you. The only other brand that I really have is probably going to be this from Vera. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but again, with them, same kind of thing. Their 13 millimeter is going to give you a little bit of play, so that way it's really going to hit the flank of the bolt, not the corners. So almost every socket set I've tried in the past has copied Snap-on for that flank drive, which was a genius move. From my understanding, it was the Navy were the ones that contacted Snap-on and said, hey, can you guys develop something for us? And basically just changed the industry and changed the game. So tell me what you guys think. Do you think you really need to spend the money for Snap-on sockets, or do you think something else will do? What are your favorite sockets? Maybe ones I didn't mention here. Please comment below. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe.